There's some empty spots in the you feel like
What are you doing?
Come on, yo. How you doing, big man?
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Ah, lugar com acho que legal.
Why did you give us one? Why did you give us one?
Muhammad, Allah reward you, inshallah.
Amen.
You know this guy, right? Young man who worked hard in this masjid. Allah reward him.
He ran away.
But you know?
You know when you see gathering,
No, you're not lucky.
take your time. Don't rush. Don't rush. Take your time.
Our Muazzin ran away, so
He didn't come today.
we pray also with him, and I think the moment he see the gathering,
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة وحي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين وله ما في السماوات والأرض ومن عنده لا يستكبرون عن عبادته ولا يستحسرون يسبحون الليل والنهار لا يفترون أم اتخذوا آلهة من الأرض هم ينشرون لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا فسبحان الله رب العرش عما يصفون لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون أم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة قل هاتوا برهانكم هذا ذكر من معي وذكر من قبلي بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون الحق فهم معرضون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. هذا ذكر من معي وذكر من قبلي بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون الحق فهم مغرضون وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون وقالوا اتخذ الرحمن ولدا سبحانه بل عباد مكرمون لا يسبقونه بالقول وهم بأمره يعملون يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يشفعون إلا لمن ارتضى وهم من خشيته مشفقون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
Daddy, Daddy.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah accept our prayers. May Allah accept our fasting. May Allah forgive our sins. May Allah make us among those whose good deeds will be written and our names will be written in the people of Jannah. Allahumma. First, we want to say thank you to our brothers who came to break their fast with us today. It is with great pleasure to see all these new, beautiful faces together with us. This is what Islam looks like. This is what Islam is all about. Unity among the Ummah, as the Prophet ﷺ educated and taught us. Inshallah, we also want to extend our gratitude to MCN, the Muslim Community Network, for help sponsoring our Iftar also today. Inshallah, if you're here with us, we're asking you to stay a little longer. Between now and Isha, there is going to be a presentation on immigrants' rights, inshallah, by the Muslim Community Network, MCN. So inshallah, if you have time, we ask that you stay, inshallah. There's going to be food distributed while the education is also going on. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm going to try to ask you. نعم شيخ سيلا. Somewhere here. Eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you work for mom. Tell me you see me on the camera. Yeah, I saw you. Okay. I want to see you. Oh, Tito, now you see you. Oh, you're a little bit far. Now. I see you. I see you too. I saw you. Boom, 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 boom.
Don't be going close to it, okay?
Bro, this boy's on a sugar rush. Bro, he ate too much.
How are you? How are you? Bismillah, bismillah.
Ikram CEO, यह बताओगे यह बैंक जन एक नंबर में इनका कंधे ना तो हम लोगों को एक नंबर यह नहीं अकाउंट नंबर है यह सेलेक्ट thank you
Mun ci gadon ka.
Ai kun ci gadon na ce. Amma ku fito fili ranar idi. Ka gani na gaba mutane ranar idi. Amma na shi ne ya kafa ba ga su.
Sa ta juya mai. Ele pode ser que está mandando.
Mera bile bu folo tinte niye de jeji masuk. Yes ya da mora kedan. Ha? Semua banyak. Ha? Semua siapa nak? Ha? Ha? Nomor siapa? Nomor siapa?
That was a nice one. You gotta believe that you can't mess up the trip.
We're not so bad. ¿Cuánto les ahorro, coño?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh no, I did not hear that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now it sounds more like we just broke our fast with this beautiful, delicious meals. Thank you so much for coming. Inshallah, the presentation is about to start right now. So the little ones, let's find some place to sit and let's be quiet. Let's give the utmost attention to the brother who's going to present, and let's listen to what he has to say to us, inshallah. But you can continue eating while you're listening, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Oh, there's also a sign-in sheet going around. If you get it, please just write your name. You don't even need, okay. Okay, just everything else, you don't need to write your name, right? Okay, khair, inshallah. And that applies to the sisters area too? Okay, inshallah. Okay, khair. Thank you so much.
Can you? Which one do you want? Or the donation box? Money. You want to get this? Donation box.
Someone that asked her for it. Carol. Yeah, take it back.
Yeah.
This might be this evening workshop. Where did the blue board go? Not that one, the bigger one.
That's no.
The bigger blue clipboard that I have. Oh yeah,
The blue one? Yeah, it's blue one. You need it?
I'll let people decide anything on that.
Okay. Alright, just because of time, we don't want to delay the issue.
Alright, assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Waliullah. I'm with the Muslim Community Network. Like Brother Amar mentioned, I'm here to administer the Immigrants' Rights Workshop. A lot of the information here is made available thanks to the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. So we will get started shortly. You don't need to, rush eating. So yeah.
What can we do?
How you doing?
Do any of this.
That's good? Wally, that's good? Is this good? Okay. Before to leave the one in the back.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. It's good to be here with you all. My name is Ajifanta. I'm Advocacy Program Manager at Muslim Community Network. So a little bit about MCN. Our organization started in 2002 following 9/11 and the rise in Islamophobia in New York. And so our mission is to really shape the narrative about Muslims in Islam and also empower the Muslim community to be more civically engaged. And we do this through a number of different program areas that include our Muslim Women Empowerment Program, a youth fellowship program, interfaith peace building, community service, and advocacy and hate crime prevention. And today's workshop is really part of our community education program where we go around different masjids and community centers to talk about immigrants' rights, how to interact with ICE and NYPD, what resources and services are available to you if you're undocumented in New York, and just also knowing how to advocate for yourself as a New York City resident. And I'll let Wally start with that presentation, but I'll be in the back with the sisters to just go over any questions they have. But we truly appreciate you all being here and would love for you to stay throughout the rest of the presentation because this is a really important issue to our community.
All right, couldn't have really said it any better. Thank you so much, Sister Ajifanta. All right, so I guess we can get started. So again, assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today to learn about your rights as immigrants in New York City. Even if you're not an immigrant, it's very much more likely than not that you have friends, loved ones, acquaintances that are immigrants, first, second generation Americans that can really use this information. So please use this information to not only empower yourself but empower others. So again, before we start, I would also like to make it clear that I'm not a lawyer, and this presentation is only meant to be an education guide to help you learn about your rights as an immigrant, in New York, as well as what services are available to you. It's not meant to serve as legal advice, even though most of the information is as up to date as it can be. Immigration law is fairly, tricky. It's very unpredictable. So do always consult an immigration lawyer when it comes to most up-to-date sort of policy changes, and we'll get more into what free confidential legal services might be available, either through city government or through local nonprofits. So if I'm talking too fast, also just feel free to raise, your hand and let me know so I can slow down a bit. So today we'll be again learning about our rights as immigrants in New York City. 3 key objectives, for us today will be to learn about how some of the most recent changes in federal policy might affect you. This would include temporary protected status, otherwise known as the TPS program, DACA, the now repealed travel ban, as well as the public charge policy. We'll also be teaching you how to learn how to properly identify and respond to federal immigration officers. This would, include distinguishing between, the uniforms of ICE officers as well as NYPD officers, because sometimes people tend to have a bit of trouble telling the difference between both those uniforms, as well as distinguishing between the proper type of warrant that is needed to enforce, an immigration action. And the last objective will also be, again, how to access free and safe legal services and resources. So several key terms you should know that we'll be going over. These terms will tend to pop up a lot when you hear about, immigration law and policy. There's the Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security, otherwise known as DHS, is the federal agency that oversees all immigration matters. This replaced the INS, the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Services Agency, in 2003, and it has 2 key subsidiary agencies. Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, which is the agency within DHS that directly enforces immigration law, usually through ICE officers. And then there is USCIS, which is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Agency. This is the agency of DHS that administers, all the country's naturalization and immigration, paperwork and, bureaucratic sort of whatnot. So say, you're, applying for a visa, that would go through USCIS. Several other terms we feel like you should know and are important when it comes to immigrant-related discourse include undocumented immigrant or undocumented person. An undocumented person is a person without legal immigration status that is currently living in the United States. This doesn't just include people. This doesn't just include people who physically cross the United States border, but it also includes people who overstay any of their visas. It could be student, visitor, etc. Another term is public areas. A public area is pretty much a space where anyone can go, aside from as literal as the term might sound. This also refers to any area that an ICE officer would be able to sort of conduct a search without a warrant. There are also private areas. Private areas are spaces that are generally not accessible to members of the public. This would include sensitive locations, which we'll be getting into a little bit later. It also includes your private household, as well as private spaces of the workplace. Warrants or any official document that gives government agents certain permissions. Typically, ICE agents will come to either a workplace, a public area, or a private area, showing up with an administrative warrant. Sometimes, it's very unlikely, first time compared to the second time that they'll show up with a judicial warrant. But the judicial warrant is actually what you need to administer an immigration enforcement action. Not an administrative warrant. We'll be getting into the differences a bit more later. But immigration enforcement action, this is a phrase that you've heard me throw around a bit. This refers to any formal action taken by the federal government to enforce immigration laws. This includes conducting investigations and making arrests or formally detaining an individual. Deporting an individual. So now we'll go over several executive orders and federal policy changes, some of which you might already have heard of. So there's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. Is anyone in the crowd already familiar with DACA? Yes. Yes? Does anyone want to raise their hand? Yeah.
You want to tell us a bit about DACA?
Yep. Sure. Just like a sentence or two. Sorry? Just like a sentence or two.
Okay, so DACA is a program that was started, I believe, by Obama, if I'm not mistaken, to give temporary documents to minor immigrants that was brought over by their parents. So people who came to this country, quote unquote, illegally, but they were not at the age of 18. So they were given that temporary status, so they're able to go to school, get a job. And recently, as some of you might be aware of, it was under attack by the people in Congress and all that. So yes, that's what DACA is about.
Yep. I guess Brother Mar pretty much covered all the bases there when it comes to DACA. So, like you mentioned, DACA is a federal immigration program that began in 2012 under President Obama. It helps undocumented immigrants who came to the United States as young people by providing them, temporary protection from deportation through, proper access to work authorization. Currently, the federal government is required to continue accepting renewal applications for DACA for any, people that were on the program before July 16, 2021. However, as of July 2021, July 16, 2021, the federal government is unfortunately not processing any new applications for DACA. So if you were on DACA before July 16, 2021, you don't have anything to worry about. You can still, get reauthorized for DACA. However, if you're, still undocumented and, you're trying to get onto the program, after the date, you're unfortunately out of luck there. If you have any other questions relating to DACA specifically, feel free to contact the Action NYC hotline, which we'll also be talking about a bit more later on. So, the repeal travel ban, this is fairly infamous immigration policy. This was an executive order that was implemented during the Trump administration that placed specific travel restrictions on people from certain countries, disproportionately Muslim, by barring visa issuance and entry into the United States. However, the Biden administration repealed the travel ban, so if, previously for about 4 years you were, anxious or confused about how the travel ban might have affected your immigration status, retroactively you shouldn't have much to worry about, unless if, say, this ever comes back, God forbid. But the countries that were affected by this travel ban included Iran, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, Venezuela, North Korea, Sudan, Eritrea, Nigeria, Myanmar, Kyrgyzstan, and Tanzania. Now we'll be talking about the TPS. The TPS, otherwise known as the Temporary Protected Status Program, somewhat functions as a, refugee program for the U.S. by allowing individuals from certain countries to remain in the United States if it's designated unsafe for them by DHS to return to their home country, either due to an ongoing armed or political conflict, such as a civil war, or an environmental disaster such as an earthquake, a major flood, or a hurricane. The list of countries that currently qualify for TPS is ever changing and ever shifting. This also includes the period for which certain countries are bound by TPS. The current list of countries includes Afghanistan, Cameroon, El Salvador, Ethiopia, Haiti, Honduras, Myanmar, Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, and Yemen. Like I mentioned, the status of many of these countries, is constantly, subject to change. So, a new country could be added to the list depending on the conditions that are, designated by TPS for that country to, qualify for TPS. Say, for example, in 2022, about 1/7 of Pakistan's population was displaced by floods, and there have been advocacy efforts to create a new designation for that country, but there isn't a designation right now. So, and I believe Somalia, the designation for Somalia was about to expire in March, but the Biden administration extended it by 18 months. So TPS for Somalia specifically is still, it's still in effect until at least September 2024. So, yeah, that's a pretty cool program. Now the last federal immigration policy that we'll be going over today is public charge. Under federal law, immigration officials are allowed, or they could, deny certain applications for lawful permanent residence for visas if they find that the applicant is likely to become a public charge. So, public charge generally, it's an internal term meant to refer to anyone who's not a citizen, anyone who's not a citizen but is trying to apply for a visa or lawful permanent residence, but because of the fact that they might be, low income or receiving public benefits, any factors that might be deemed as making them a socioeconomic liability to the state, the immigration officials could deem that application or the person applying for lawful permanent residence or visa as a public charge. So again, public charge is essentially a way of, deeming an applicant as, a liability, too much of a sort of socioeconomic liability to gain proper sort of residential authorization. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just a bit, yeah. There are certain, exceptions to public charge. So as for some of the public benefits that are checked on public charge, there's TANF, cash assistance, Social Security income, and any sort of long-term medical institutionalization at the government's expense. However, any COVID-related care is exempt from the public charge rule. There are also a variety of public services in New York City, especially healthcare. Healthcare in New York City specifically, you're able to receive irrespective of your immigration status. If it's short term, at least you shouldn't worry about it affecting your ability to get a new visa or obtain permanent residence. And there is no public charge test for applying for citizenship. So public charge only applies to visas and lawful permanent residence applications. It does not apply when you're applying for citizenship, fortunately. Using any of the benefits that are checked on public charge, such as SSI, TANF, cash assistance, they don't automatically make you a public charge. These are just generally factors that might be taken into consideration by immigration officials. Public charge, for clarity, did not exist before the Trump administration. This internal policy is really just meant to scare immigrants. All right. Now we'll be getting more into the specific difference, between ICE agents and local police officers. The most important difference is that ICE agents are not local police officers. Uniforms aside, they have completely different enforcement duties. The NYPD does not conduct civil immigration enforcement. Even if you're an immigrant or undocumented, you're still allowed to report a crime to the NYPD, and they should not ask about your immigration status. You should also know that the New York State Police does not conduct civil immigration enforcement either, and they should not ask about your immigration status. However, despite the fact that, say, a ICE agent's uniform might say the words police, people might generally think, oh, this guy's a police officer. Wrong. And again, it's really meant to mislead people, because we'll also get more sort of differences between not just their uniforms, but also the badge insignia. So HSI stands for Homeland Security Investigations. ICE, you already sort of know about. Yeah. Here are two examples of ICE badges and two examples of NYPD badges. NYPD uniforms usually have a patch on their arm that says City of New York. ICE officers, uniforms will usually have words on them that say federal agent, police, ICE. Again, if they're calling themselves a police officer but they don't have a state police badge or an NYPD badge, it's more likely than not they're an ICE officer, especially if you see everything else indicating that they are an ICE officer. Right. Hopefully that was clear enough. And you can take pictures of these examples as well if you want. So some of the most common places for ICE interactions include the workplace, the household, and public spaces. Your home or any home is considered a private space. Your place of work as well. It can have private space aspects, but it can also have public space aspects. Say, where you work is a really big commercial building. It might be a general lobby. That might be somewhere where an ICE agent would be able to generally access, or say, like a supermarket aisle. They wouldn't be able to, however, enter an employee's only designated area without a judicial warrant. So there are exceptions to what sort of spaces an ICE agent would be able to enter in a workspace. Streets, parks, and courthouses are also considered public spaces. There are also a bunch of other exceptions to what are generally considered public spaces that ICE agents cannot conduct immigration enforcement actions on. They're called sensitive locations. We'll be getting a bit more into that later as well. Sensitive locations include schools, hospitals, clinics, religious institutions like this mosque, churches, synagogues, mandirs, you name it. Public ceremonies including weddings, funerals, marches or protests, much more. This could also include disaster or emergency response and relief sites, social service establishments such as domestic violence shelters, family justice centers, CDOs, food distribution sites, drug or alcohol treatment facilities, and places where children gather, such as playgrounds, child care providers, foster group facilities, and school bus stops. Also, yeah, I already went over hospitals and clinics. And, even though most of these locations are generally locations that ICE agents cannot, conduct immigration enforcement, actions in, this list, as we speak, is internal list, so ICE can take out for. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So before 2019, I believe. What was it? Yeah. So based on the New York State Courthouse rule, as of April 17th, 2019, law enforcement officials, including ICE agents, are no longer allowed to make arrests inside New York State courthouses or anywhere around the premises without a judicial warrant. So how might ICE be able to identify people for immigration enforcement? They generally have a number of investigative tools at their disposal. You might be able to find people through their immigration applications or interactions with the immigration system, aka USCIS in this case. This would be at the border, any sort of visa or lawful permanent residence application that might have filed in the past, whether it was successful or unsuccessful. They might be able to obtain their information also through law enforcement processing. This includes any arrest, no matter how minor or long ago, even if the arrest didn't lead to a conviction. Several key things to know when interacting with ICE. Number one, stay calm. Number two, you have the right to remain silent. If you decide to speak to ICE, anything you can say can be used against you. Likewise, you also have the right to record the situation with your phone or write down what happened after ICE leaves if you feel like the situation might be too risky for you to directly record the interaction. You can report directly what ICE agents are doing at any of these two hotlines right over here. We also have more information on the one pages right over there. Several things to know when interacting with ICE at home. If they're at your door, again, you still have the right to remain silent. Ask ICE for identification. Make sure you're speaking, make sure you know who exactly you're speaking to, because you don't want to make the mistake of incorrectly identifying them as a police officer and they're an ICE agent. So ask for identification. Request them to show their badge in a way that doesn't compromise your safety. You don't need to open the door. Probably ask them to display it through a peephole or probably by a window that's close enough for you to see, but doesn't allow them to enter your premises at least without a judicial warrant. If they enter your household without your permission, you're allowed to state that you do not consent to enter your search, and likewise, you can also tell them if there are any children or vulnerable residents in the household. These are things you can also document, say if the ICE agent, becomes belligerent with you for any, negative reason. Those are things like, you can report to any of these hotlines that I mentioned a bit earlier. So, several things to know when interacting with ICE at work. ICE can enter the public space of the workplace without needing any type of warrant, like I mentioned earlier. However, they cannot legally enter the private space of a workplace without the permission of your employer or a judicial warrant. If they do enter your workplace, you still have the right to remain silent, and your employer or supervisor can ask ICE to show their identification and ask if ICE has a judicial warrant. So it's not just you that has to do it. Your employer has that authority as well to reject an ICE officer if they don't have a judicial warrant. Several things to know when interacting with ICE in public spaces. Generally, these tend to be the most unpredictable, encounters. with ICE, because generally they might walk up to a person, ask for the person's name. As soon as the person says their name, they'll immediately attempt to detain the person. However, when that happens, before responding with your name or anyone else, you should ask, "Are you free to go?" If the officer says yes, then you have the right to say, "I don't want to answer any of your questions," and then walk away. If the officer says you're not free to go, you can say, "I want to use my right not to answer questions," and you can say, "I want to speak to a lawyer." If a nice officer tries to search your pockets or belongings, you can say, "I do not consent to a search," but you can only verbally express it, because even if you slightly fidget, you might give the officer enough cause to, accuse you of, trying to attack them. You know how these sort of things tend to go. So be careful how you express, that you do not consent to the search. Only express it verbally. Yeah. Now we'll be getting into the specific differences between administrative warrants and judicial warrants. An administrative warrant is a internally issued warrant, that a nice agent would generally use to attempt to execute an immigration enforcement action. And even though this is something that otherwise looks like a warrant, this is not the type of warrant that is legally required to detain an immigrant. Generally, at the bottom of an administrative warrant, you'll see signature fields indicating that it's signed off by a nice officer. To detain an immigrant, the warrant needs to be signed off by a U.S. judge, not a nice officer. So, again, a bit more on this warrant specifically. An administrative warrant, I think we could just call it ICE warrant. A nice warrant is addressed to federal immigration officers directly or their superiors at DHS. You usually see the signature fields from the ICE officer, again, not a judge. And even though this is typically called a warrant by name really, it does not give ICE the authority to demand entry to the private areas of a workplace or a home. A judicial warrant does, however. So a judicial warrant is signed by a state or federal judge. A judicial warrant gives ICE permission to enter the private areas we spoke about earlier. If the ICE agent does not have a judicial warrant, they need permission expressed vocally or by action of a resident to enter a home. If the ICE agent does not have a judicial warrant, they likewise need the express permission of the owner, manager, or supervisor to enter the private space of the workplace. Judges usually have different ways of, writing warrants, so they might look a bit different, but some of the most common fields you'll see include the name and signature of the judge, the name of the property that they have permission to search, the date and time of the search, the location of the court, and the tier of the court, like district, federal, Supreme Court. Also name and description of the property to be searched, as well as the address. Is all that clear? The difference between a ICE warrant and a judicial warrant? So, things to know if you or a loved one do end up being arrested by ICE. There is no guarantee that an agent will speak in your language. You still have the right to remain silent, and you can tell them if you have a medical issue or need to immediately arrange for childcare. Do not lie or give false documents, because it could, it could worsen your situation in certain ways. And also, people in the community might already attempt to film ICE, so say that, you might want to record the interaction yourself. If an ICE agent is directly addressing you, that might put your safety at risk. So, if other people are already recording the situation, that's honestly, probably a bit better than, you recording the situation yourself. So things to know, if you do end up being arrested in ICE, aka you are already in detention, you still have the right to an attorney and may speak to, your lawyer, or just, take the general time to obtain an attorney. Likewise, you also have the right to call your family. You also have the right to be visited by an attorney during detention. You're not required and you do not have to sign anything. You still have the right to speak to a lawyer before you consciously decide to sign anything. And you also have the right to contact your consulate. So, how are several ways you can prepare for a possible immigration enforcement action? First step, just inform yourself about what your general rights are as an immigrant. It could be as basic as going to a workshop just like this one. Step 2, create an emergency plan. This could include having an emergency contact you really trust. This could be a close friend, a loved one. You could also choose a standby guardian who could look after your children for up to a year. This would include, residential as well as food. Any rental obligations that you're unable to fulfill due to detention, you can, put off to standby guardian. This would essentially be someone that would almost function as a parent, but only for up to 1 year. You're not giving up your parenthood permanently. This would just be someone who will be looking after your children for up to a year when you're in detention. Lastly, get an immigration legal checkup if you have any concerns about your immigration status and would like a consultation. All right, lastly, we're going to be going over how to avoid immigration fraud. I'm just getting a little bit late, so I want to wrap up quickly. So Isha prayer is going to start in a few minutes, so we'll just wrap up with this slide, but we have a lot more useful information on the side. Avoiding immigration fraud, even though it's important to get a legal screening to know the types of relief that you might be eligible for, it's also important to be cautious of the person or the business that you're discussing your immigration options with. Inappropriately filing an immigration application, even unintentionally, is not only a waste of money, but it could also result in deportation. Immigration law is complicated, so always beware of fraudulent immigration providers who might indicate otherwise to make false promises. When getting legal help, always ask questions and remember to ask for proof of license/accreditation. Only a lawyer or individual accredited or recognized by the U.S. Department of Justice can give you immigration legal advice. Ask for proof of bar license or accreditation/recognition from the DOJ. Also get a second opinion. Only go to providers that have a physical location. Take a picture of all this other information over here. In some countries, public notaries have certain sort of legal obligations and capabilities, but over here, public notaries are not allowed to provide immigration-related advice, even though they're still allowed to help you translate, photocopy, notarize, take laws and all that other stuff. They're still not allowed to provide immigration advice. If you want to report immigration fraud, you can call the American Hotline.
Inshallah, they have the one-pagers here, information. So if you need any information or more information, you can pick up one of the flyers here. Inshallah, it's time for us to pray. Jazakumullah khair.